We know that the Infinity Gauntlet will appear again in Avengers Endgame. The only question is, what will happen to it? Could some heroes gain control of the gauntlet and wield its cosmic power? These superheroes might just have a chance to wear it in the final chapter. When you think about someone you'd trust with the gauntlet, the first name that likely comes to mind is Captain America. Steve Rogers has always done what's right, no matter the cost. We may not be perfect, but the safest hands are still our own. If he gets his hands on the gauntlet, it would be clear how the story might bring back the fallen heroes from the end of Infinity War. He would do what needs to be done, again, but it would come at a great personal cost. When Thanos used the gauntlet at the end of Infinity War, we saw it burn and warp under the immense power it channeled. Not surprising, considering it was forged by the same dwarf who crafted Mjolnir. Even Hela shattered Mjolnir effortlessly. Thanos survived a monstrous surge of energy, but he's a titan of immense power. Steve, on the other hand, can outrun cars, leap between rooftops, and hold a helicopter in place with sheer strength. And most importantly, his unwavering moral compass holds the team together. Damn it! Language! That integrity might allow him to use the gauntlet, but whether he could survive the aftermath is another matter. The ability to rewind time could allow him to bring everyone back, but that power comes with the opportunity for self-sacrifice. And that would be a fitting conclusion for the character, especially as both Chris Evans and the Russo brothers have hinted at the end of his arc. Tony Stark might not be the most obvious candidate to wear the gauntlet, but when you think about it, he's no stranger to high-tech gear. Even though the gauntlet is cosmic in origin, it's still a form of technology, and that's Tony's domain. Since when did you become an expert in thermonuclear astrophysics? In fact, he already wielded the gauntlet in the comics. In 2011, Tony became the first human in the Marvel Universe to use it. The most intriguing part of that story? He faked the gauntlet's destruction and secretly handed it and the Infinity Stones over to those he trusted more. The idea of sacrifice fits Tony perfectly as well. It would be a powerful send-off for the character and could open the door for Rhodey to step into the role of Iron Man. But the most unexpected and yet likely character to wield the gauntlet in Endgame might be someone casual viewers wouldn't. Suspect, Nebula. Thanos' adopted daughter played a crucial role in the Infinity Gauntlet comic storyline. After what happened to Gamora in Infinity War, Nebula has all the motivation she needs. In the comics, Thanos wipes out half the universe at the beginning of the story, not the end. The surviving heroes desperately try to stop him, only to be eliminated one by one. Meanwhile, Nebula, barely alive, is kept in a decaying, tortured state by Thanos. She retains just enough consciousness to steal the gauntlet and reverse time by 24 hours, undoing everything before Thanos could destroy the heroes. If Endgame draws inspiration from that storyline, she has a deeply personal reason to go up against him. In the MCU, Nebula has been tortured her entire life, with cybernetic replacements forced onto her after every failed mission. This is why we see her in such a broken mechanical state in Infinity War. She already swore vengeance on Thanos, and Gamora tried to protect her, only to be sacrificed. If Gamora isn't brought back, that gives Nebula even more reason to end Thanos for good. It would be a satisfying payoff for audiences. She might even join the Guardians of the Galaxy after Gamora's loss. You could have killed me! That would have been a waste. Bruce Banner is another compelling option to control the gauntlet in Endgame. After the events of Thor, Ragnarok, we saw growing tension between Banner and his Hulk alter ego. In Infinity War, the green side refused to take control. But if Banner masters the gauntlet, he may finally reconcile with the Hulk and achieve the balance he's always sought. This could hint at another comic storyline, where Banner's mind and Hulk's body finally become one. If that happens, we're in for an exciting arc, and Mark Ruffalo would get the chance to portray a more intelligent, emotionally nuanced Hulk. You screwed me! Yeah. baby arms. Then there's Thor, the god of thunder, wielding both Stormbreaker and the Gauntlet. That would be the ultimate definition of overpowered. It may sound far-fetched, but something like this did happen in the comics. In Thor number 25, 2000s, Thor and Thanos clashed in one of the most brutal battles in Marvel history. Though Thanos initially had the upper hand, Thor overpowered him with enchanted artifacts from Odin, eventually beating the Mad Titan into the dirt of Asgard. Not the most dignified end, even for Thanos. And what about Loki? Yes, he was killed at the beginning of Infinity War while trying to save his brother. But let's be honest, Loki's died before, and he's always come back. It wouldn't be too surprising if he returned at the last second and snatched the gauntlet away. In the original Infinity Gauntlet comics, Thanos worked with Mephisto, a demon who eventually betrayed him. Since Mephisto doesn't exist in the MCU, Loki could easily fill that role. We also know a series starring Tom Hiddleston's Loki is in development. If it's not a prequel, he'll be back one way or another. If Loki manages to control the gauntlet without being consumed by its power, it could push his evolution from villain to hero even further. Exactly the kind of development he needs to take the spotlight. The Endgame trailer has a grim tone. We see Tony recording a final message to Pepper. Steve Rogers sheds a tear for fallen friends. Clint Barton transforms into a darker version of himself. But the tone shifts when Ant-Man appears. "It's me! Can you buzz me in?" If Scott Lang ends up with the gauntlet, fans will be stunned. But it's not out of the question. The entire Marvel Cinematic Universe may ultimately depend on how the smallest Avenger helps tip the odds, in both the figurative and literal sense. And let's be honest, he might actually save the world. The beauty of Ant-Man is that his standalone films always feel like low-stakes capers, but now he's involved in something massive. If he ends up being the one to carry the plot forward, that would be a wild